Welcome to Hoovie's Garage. Actually, welcome to Hoovie's Nightmare. Let's get started. This is why we do not install used engines, ever, for anyone. Hoovie has found that out the hard way. It wasn't that he made a mistake or anything. He got screwed over really bad. In the past, I've been through this scenario multiple times with multiple customers. The third engine is bad. The fourth engine is bad. We finally get one that runs and it only lasts 3 months and the customer releases their anger on me. And they're the ones that supplied the engine. I had to stop. I had to say, no more used engines. It's a terrible market right now. Today's engines are not meant to be rebuilt. And they're very easily destroyed with timing chains and oiling problems and things, low tension piston rings, they eat oil, or all kinds of things go wrong. They're not rebuildable. There are a ton of engines on the market, used ones, that are bad. Does the seller know that they're bad? I don't know. I think that they probably do. I'll tell you about the situation what Hoovie went through here in a minute, but how do you know when you get an engine that comes in, is it any good? Do not take their word for it, the supplier's word for it, and just install the engine and hope for the best, cross your fingers. Do not do that. Because as soon as you install it, you own it. They're probably not going to work with you. They're not going to take it back. They're not going to honor any warranty, or they're going to make it very difficult for you. They're going to put 30 hoops you have to jump through in order to get it solved. It's a headache. When it arrives, you want to have your mechanic pull the spark plugs out and see if they can turn it by hand. It should turn freely. It shouldn't be stiff where they have to put their weight on it, like this one was. They should have a borescope camera if they're a reputable shop. They should be able to go down in there and look at all the cylinders and see that they're smooth, nice crosshatch pattern, and not like this one where it looks like Wolverine slid down the sides with his claws. Really bad. I remember I got an engine for actually that thing. It showed up, I think they pulled it out of the bottom of the ocean. All the coolant passages were solid rust. I couldn't even stab the rust with a screwdriver. It was solid rust. I tried to work with the seller, tried to see if we could figure something out, send me another engine. It was 2 to 3 months of games, mind games, email games, message games. And finally, I had to take an approach that I'll mention to you here in a minute that Hoovie took that finally solved it. So thinking about mental struggles and the things that Hoovie went through, is going through on this vehicle. Do you ever feel like your life is broken, like this car? Everyone has a time in their life. There isn't sunshine and roses. You might even feel like you're running on just 5 cylinders. There was a time when I just got out of the Army, I didn't know what to do or where to start. I was really lost and didn't feel comfortable burdening my family. I could have really used someone to help me navigate a rough road. Today I would have turned to BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video. BetterHelp matches you with a therapist and actually listens to you and offers unbiased advice. All you have to do is go to their site. You can use my link, betterhelp.com/carwizard. Answer a few questions and they will match you with a therapist, usually within 4 to 8 hours. That's faster than I can get many of the parts I order. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your home. Go to betterhelp.com/carwizard or choose CarWizard during sign up to get a special discount on your first month. Now that I've given you an option to make your personal life better, let's get back to this disaster. This car's been sitting here for a long time. We actually had to put casters on it, as you can see on the frame rails, so we can move it out of the way because it's just unknown how long it's going to take. Any of the times in the past where I actually did used engines for someone, let them bring in their own engine, it always ends the same. The customer stating, this was totally not worth it. I wish I never took this route. I've lost a lot of money. I've lost a lot of time. This was not what I envisioned. This is not what I'd hoped for. I wish I would have known. I've gotten to the point now where I just don't even get started on it. If they mention used engine, the answer is no. Over here you actually have the original engine that went to this car. It was overheated so bad, like you saw in previous videos we've done and also in Hoovie's Garage. The actual open deck bores are individually warped. It's unusable. The block is shot. And the money it would take to get that one running again, even if you could, it would be so much money. It's not worth it. I would show you the bad engine that Hoovie ordered and showed up. It was worse than this one. You couldn't even turn it over. I would love to show it to you, but the seller actually had it picked up. They sent a truck. And let me tell you the story about that. This is really weird. So you guys saw in Hoovie's Garage, this thing showed up puking antifreeze everywhere. The engine was toast. Hoovie said, we have an engine on order. I told Danielson, go ahead and pull this one apart so when the new one shows up, we can pop it in and we can be done. And that's when the games began. The engine took forever and ever and ever to show up. The seller kept making comments to Hoovie, oh, well, you know, yours is the 6th car in line that will have this engine out. But the ad said the engine was already out. Finally, 2 months went by almost. We finally got the engine, and it's locked up. It's ruined. So Hoovie gets a hold of them, and they say, hey, what happened is that's actually a core engine. We have several on the shelf that are actually good engines. We just accidentally sent you a core engine. So Hoovie's like, okay, all right, I get it. Get this one back, send me a good one, we'll be good. Finally, a bunch of days goes by, Hoovie keeps messaging them, where am I at? Where's this engine? We're getting ready to send one. We're locating the engine now. He's like, what is there to locate? You just told me there's several on the shelf, good ones. You just happened to accidentally send me a core engine, a bad one. And in the midst of him waiting some more, a truck showed up, they picked up the bad one, and silence. This is where Hoovie, and I've had to do it twice before. I don't like doing this. Hoovie doesn't like doing it either. Is where we had to use our YouTube clout to kick somebody in the ass. Hoovie finally had to tell them, because they were talking, oh, we're still locating an engine. We're still locating. It's like, you said you have engines. Oh, and then silence again. Finally, Hoovie told them, I tell you what, no more games. I have a YouTube channel. I have 1.5 million subscribers. I'm going to post your name and I'm going to run your name across all of God's green earth. Do not buy from this seller. Guess what? A refund magically showed up in his account and they still won't contact him. I've had to do that a couple of times where I almost got ripped off. And I said, look, bro, you're about to get blasted hard. Do you realize that? Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll get you a refund. Sorry. Why does it have to come to that? Why not run an honest business and operate with good principles? You keep a lot of customers that way. I feel really bad for the people who get into this situation and they don't have a way out. You could literally lose the money that he spent on this engine and never get it back. He'd have to file a complaint and do all this stuff and fight, maybe even get attorneys involved, and then you pay the attorney's fees. Did you really get anywhere? There's a lot of scam stuff going on. Used engines, cars from Florida. There's all kind of things going on that is you really need to be on your toes. A while back, I had an L322 Range Rover, was 2004, and I ordered a good engine from supposedly a reputable supplier. The one I had was completely shelled out. It showed up where someone had dropped it and broke the entire corner of the cylinder head and valve cover off. You could put your finger in and touch the valve springs. Ruined. Useless. They shipped a second engine. It was worse than that one. It was completely dead. It was locked up, solid. I've been through this so many times. And again, why is the purpose of the video? It's because I want to share with you guys that you're in this situation. He's like, I got to get a used engine. I got to find a shop to put I can't afford a new engine. You're out of luck. It's a 90% chance you're going to get 2 or 3 dead engines before you get a good one. If you ever get a good one. Let's go take a look at one of the instances where Hoovie actually got lucky. We did get a good engine. So this is Hoovie's 2017 Range Rover Evoque. You guys saw his video where he jumped it into a pond and did all kind of crazy stuff with it. The engine was already blown before he got it. He didn't blow the engine. It was already ruined. before he did anything to the car. So that engine is out, and Hoovie located a good one, and it actually is good. I'm so happy. I was so worried we're going to have the same situation here. It actually turned out okay. This is the 10% of the time you actually get lucky and get a good engine. Grimes is actually finishing up on this. We're getting close to being done with this. It'll be a running, driving, happy Range Rover again. But again, when this engine showed up, the first thing Grimes did, pull the coils, pull the plugs, turn it over, inspect inside the bores, make sure no damage has happened. And also look for evidence that has been dropped, fallen off of the pallet, broken plastic pieces, plastic lines, plastic intake, which this has on it, that it's not snapped or broken, a visual inspection. And again, I want to reiterate, if you are going to take the chance with a used engine, which I don't recommend with these days, always check the engine before you install it. Because then you have a leg up on the seller. You can say, hey man, I haven't even installed this engine and it's a pile of trash. Come pick your junk up and give me my money back. They don't have much recourse at that point. But if you've already installed it, you just prolonged and possibly shot yourself in the foot on ever getting any kind of compensation for the dead engine. So now when I get phone calls, hey, I've got this car with a blown engine, I got a line on a good used one, I just say no, trust me, this is a bad road to go down. You're not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy. I wish that weren't the case. It's like 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. A used engine was almost a no-brainer. It's like, oh yeah, I'll get one of those, you know, pop it in and get some more life out of the vehicle. Now I'm deathly afraid of them. And I had to move the Maserati off the lift because we got the Testarossa to work on and we needed the lift. Now the 10% of engines that are good out there, there is a few reputable salvage yards out there like J&J Auto Wrecking. If they sent me an engine, I know it's good. They personally check them, they go through them, they make sure they're ready to go. They're wanting to build that reputation so that they have customers flocking to them. And I think if they keep going with that business plan, they're going to have more business than they know what to do with, because all the other options, the other 90%, are literally boat anchor engines. They're garbage. So after seeing what Hoovie has gone through on this and what I've gone through over the years, I definitely wanted to do a video with you guys and share with you, you're in this predicament. There's very few options, a new engine or figure out something else, because you can really run yourself down a bad road with the used engines. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to do this kind of work, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and really appreciate it if you purchase anything. Check out Mrs. Wizard's Ways. She's got really great content going on. There's a link in the description for that as well. And make sure to hit the subscribe button here because there's tons of awesome content waiting for you guys. Thanks for watching.